Hi everyone, I'm Steve here again with Brian Sanchez. We'll call this Brian's Corner. And Brian, thanks for being with us. Um, we always have such a good talk, so thanks for being with us.
Steve, I absolutely love the opportunity to discuss anything anybody questions or brings in questions with. It's just a nice opportunity to kind of remove the whole structure of doing it within the gym and have good quality conversations. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, so if you guys have questions or something you'd want us to cover, put them in the comment section. If you want to reach out to me, you can get me at stevemain.com, leave a message. There's contact information there. So, Brian, let's talk about warming up.
Great
How
topic.
important, how important it is to warm up. What is warming up? Because I'll say right out of the gate, warming up is not stretching. That is not
Correct.
stretching. And you were bringing it up, before we got online. In high school, your sports and everything, they'd have you stretch. That's wrong. So tell us about warming up, what you do with your clients, and what is it?
So warming up, getting ready for competition. I think it's really important to understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. We want to prepare our um, bodies for active or dynamic movement when we compete, or we want to prepare our bodies for, like in the gym, for a pushing of a weight or a certain body movement, or a rotational movement, something that we don't normally do every day or all day long. And what happens is, like, for the most of us, a lot of our clients and things like that, or even students that, let's say, going to school all day long, they're in a seated position for most of the day. Most people are. And when they come to the gym, if it's early in the morning, they're getting out of bed and coming down. If it's during the day, they're probably coming from an office or school where they haven't been moving around. So their hips are going to be tight, their glutes are going to be tight, their lower back's going to be tight. If they're not wearing gym shoes all day and they have any kind of heel, their calves are tight. They're not going to have proper flexion. So there's all these things you have to think about that have to prepare those muscles for blood flow and movement. In fact, I think it's way more important to get 2 to 5 minutes of just simple walking going on for your warm up than it is to do a hurdler stretch for 10 minutes before you come in and work out. I 100% agree with you. Warm up isn't stretching. However, if you're working with a coach, they might have you do some active work or active stretching to prepare your body prior to working out, but they're going to a specific muscle for a specific reason because you're not getting proper flexion, for instance, like if your calves are tight and you know you're going to be doing squat and they don't want you to get an excessive forward lean. If your abductors movement is kind of tight, they're going to want to loosen that up if you're going to be doing some clamshells or something to that effect. So there's very specific reason behind it. And if they ask you to do static stretch for any reason, before a workout, it's probably because you have something going on that they're aware of where they want you to do that one move only. What we see is a repeat of what we know. And I've experienced this now. As you know, Steve, as a member of your facilities, we worked with a major sports group here out of our region, out of Reno, where we developed their training programs, their warm ups, and things like that. And we moved away from the old traditional everybody on the field hold this for 20 seconds, hold that for 20 seconds. We moved away from what we were talking about offline, the idea of doing the hurdler stretch, with the group prior to warming up, or the squat and holds and all these types of things. We have to remember that stretching prior to competition, in my opinion, not as a doctor, just based on my experience, relaxes the muscle. It's the muscle is designed to have a reaction after 30 plus seconds of holding to relax so it doesn't tear. The Golgi within the muscle itself is going to do that. That's what it does. It's its mission. So you got to look at stretching prior to. If you're doing big, long hold stretches, I liken it to doing yoga prior to competing in a basketball game. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to have no legs under you. Could you imagine doing 30 minutes of static stretching prior to competing at Chico? You guys would have went on to the ball field with noodles. You wouldn't have been able to even run the football. It wouldn't have happened. So what I view when it comes to the warm-up prior to, you have to have a warm-up. Tip number one, don't wait for your coach. If you wait for your coach, they're going to warm up on the time that you paid for, if that makes sense. Design a warm-up, a proper warm-up with your coach. Use your time to do that, but then prep before your sessions so that when you get to the workout, you have nothing but that full time allotted to you with your coach. Now, warming up to me is doing active work. You might want to do some jumping jacks. You might want to do some push-ups where you're working the muscles. You might want to be on that treadmill for 2 to 3 minutes. You might even want to go a little longer. You might want to do a moderate walk for 10 minutes. It's more important to get the blood flowing, get the heart pumping, and to get those muscles warm and loose at that point prior to working out or performing than it is to do other things. If you're watching professional athletes nowadays, they'll come out 3-4 hours before a game and they might do some static stretching. But prior to the game, a half hour before, 30-40 minutes before, in any professional sport, it's all active movement. It's sprints, it's running, it's going for plays, it's play action kind of stuff, so that the bodies are in competition mode by the time they go. I think if you make sure you warm up, you will minimize injury. If you're in a big static stretching program prior to competition or prior to performing in the gym, I really think you could hurt yourself because you won't have the punch to get through, and the body's going to take over, and your brain's going to move your body in a way that it thinks is going to be the most efficient because you just don't have the juice left in the leg. I don't know. Your 2 cents, Steve.
Yeah, here's my 2 cents. You're right about college. I played a couple sports in college, baseball and football, and everything changed. In high school, we did static stretching, and I was always really sore after practice. Now, college football is a brutal game. It is a brutal game. And people don't understand the impact of those hits and just the explosiveness of the game. I can't even imagine how a human being would play in the NFL after playing college football at just a Division II school. But what we did, we had a great strength coach, ballistic stretching. And in high school, don't bounce. Now it's bounce. And to warm up your body. Your body is not ready to do a static stretch until blood is flowing through it. So I give this example. Cold taffy, if you try to stretch it, it just breaks. But warm taffy, already warmed up, it stretches. So when do you stretch? I noticed when I got to college playing sports, we always stretched after practice. And it was like, wow, these hits are so much harder. This game is so much more intense. And I don't have the soreness that I had in high school. Why? We stretched after. How does that apply to all of you in the gym or those people working out at home or hiking or whatever? That's the last thing we want to do after a workout is stretch. But that's the most important time to do it. You and I did a talk on the components of fitness. Well, flexibility so many times is thrown out the window. Warm up before you exercise or compete. Warm up. That will prevent injuries. Then you compete or you do your workout or your exercise, stretch after. I neglect it too, but whenever I work my legs, I try to get at least somewhat of a stretch in after, and it really makes a difference. So ballistic stretching was always bad in high school. That's all we did in college, bouncing and different stretches. And if you watch professional athletes warm up, that's what they're doing. They're using rubber bands and they're doing walking lunges, and they're warming up their body. They're getting blood flowing through their body to protect themselves from injury mostly.
Exactly. And that's kind of the way we've gone in how we deal with our clients in the gym. And we get asked actually this a lot. People say, should I stretch before we work out? When you're first getting to meet them. And that's when we design their pregame warm up, if you will, or pre workout warm up for their body. We do take a look at how they move, and we do recommend stretching programs, but it is something that we design necessarily to do after the fact. Now, I'm not talking about when you're talking about ballistic movement. A lot of the times when you see dynamic movements or active movements prior to competition or working out, people will call that a form of stretching. But in reality, it's not the static hold where we're trying to relax the muscle. We're trying to warm that muscle up is what we're doing.
Yeah, and I just want to encourage everybody out there just to try this. Whether you go for a walk in the neighborhood, whether you go for a hike, whether you're doing squats in the gym, stretch after and watch what happens. Because when you stretch after you've used those muscles, you'll find that, wow, I'm much more flexible. I can stretch this muscle much further after you've exercised it, simply walking or whatever. And you will be amazed at what that does. It's one of the biggest things that will make a difference in your overall fitness level by stretching, static stretching we're talking about, after you exercise. It really will make a difference. I challenge you to try it, and you'll go, oh, wow, I see what he's talking about.
It's funny you say that because there's a move I haven't been doing and I put back into my routine today. Today was my big deadlift today. And so I went in and I did my deadlifts, and I went heavy for me. When I was done with my deadlifting, I was watching a Trainer Tip Tuesday, Fitness for 10, from Michael Klein, one of the guys you employ. And he reminded in his Trainer Tip Tuesday, after a deadlift, he reminded how to roll out the back in a stretching format. And oh my gosh, what a difference it makes. Even me who does this every day, I totally forgot about that move. But after the fact, it allows my body to heal faster, or I should say, recover faster, because we loosen everything up. It's golden. Got to do it after you work out.
It is. And there is a reason why flexibility is one of the three major components of fitness. Flexibility, strength, and endurance. And you will find if you stretch after you do deadlifts, stretch your back. There's multiple stretches you can do. You're rolling. That's a good one. I do that all the time. And that's on a roller we're talking about, right? Where you just roll on it, and it relaxes and stretches the back. But you will find that, okay, now I'm getting stronger. My overall fitness and well-being is improving because I'm putting time into stretching, especially after you work out or exercise. Don't just get up in the morning and stretch. That's probably the worst time. That's bad because your body's stiff. It doesn't want to stretch. At least loosen it up. And you will find if you put just 10 minutes into stretching after you exert yourself, after you exercise, you will find that it makes a difference in your overall well-being. We always say everyone's different and not everything's for everybody, but I'm close to promising you on this one. You stretch after that, you're going to notice in a positive way.
Warm up, perform, stretch.
Exactly.
It's pretty simple.
Great topic. One I really want to encourage you all to practice. Everyone just does certain things, but put all the components of fitness in, have a complete program, and it will benefit you. So, Brian, as always, thanks for being with us. Appreciate all that you do, and thanks for being here.
Hey, this is what we do, right? Take care, everybody.